Morning.
Morning.
Afternoon.
Hello.
How are we all? Welcome back, Deb, after a few weeks.
Thank you.
It's lovely to see you. Looking very cool and sophisticated, Debs.
Wow. Only by Beaminster standards, by Bridport standards.
Yeah, we do have high and exacting standards in Beaminster. You're quite right. You know, the expectation on me to look cool is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Does that put me somewhere in between, being sandwiched between you both?
Yeah, well,
I don't know, Chris. I think maybe you're elevating your position.
well said, Debs. I mean, you've got it right there. How dare he? Just presume. Excuse me, you carry on talking. I'm just doing something, which if I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to see you for the rest of the day. But carry on. I'm just going to clean my glasses. There we are.
So if I was just to say, okay, I know my place, would that fit in well with the reading we're going to do in a few minutes?
Oh, Chris, are you trying to be slicker than me last week?
Well, nobody could be as slick as you.
Well, that's slick or sick. I'm not quite sure. Yeah,
No,
we've got a major problem in Beaminster for the next 4 days. There aren't going to be enough newspapers to go round.
Oh.
Because the Spa, with the lovely David and Karen, are closed for 4 days because they're redoing the inside of the shop and making it bigger with a greater choice of products. So the shop has been closed last night, doesn't Wednesday. And so newspapers are only available from the co-op. And I've seen people leaving extra early this morning to try and beat the rush to the co-op.
Yeah.
It could be a buying frenzy.
Oh. Quick, go to Bridport, buy a load of newspapers and sell them in Beaminster at higher prices.
Well, you can't because they get the price on them, Chris. That's the problem. And half of the people around here, a bit like myself, I do have to say, have tokens. You paid for them already, haven't you? So it's a conundrum. Now, Chris, we had an email from you, and I've got it on my phone here. You're getting very much like Reverend Neely with rotors.
Well, only because somebody's got to be organised.
That's a worry to me. The word organised is a great worry to me. Because the one thing that we've always known about this slick production is that a lot of time and thought goes into it, doesn't it?
Yes. What David's talking about is we were faced with next week's the Mel Plash show on Thursday morning when we record. 2 weeks after that, I'm on holiday, and 2 weeks after that, David's on holiday. So without Joe around, and if Deb can't make it, we'd have been down to one, and then you can't really record a rev chat. So all I did was sent round a little email just to try and make sure there was going to be at least two of us around for the next 4 weeks.
I liked the bit where you offered the idea that maybe we should have a guest. It's like a show now, and with a guest on. I think that's a really good idea, actually.
But we've tried to get the bishop on, but I think she could be a little bit concerned that she might be ridiculed, which of course wouldn't happen, Bishop. If you are watching, I've no idea that you are. But the guest, who could we have for guests? Do you think we could invite?
A reason for comment, dear viewer. Please tell us, who would you like as a guest?
Rowan Williams, maybe. Jesus. Think we can get him on? Yeah.
Jesus,
you're really aiming high there, David. Really.
I know. Well, you've got to.
I was just thinking about local people, but obviously the sky's the limit with you two.
No, well, as Chris pointed out a few months ago, my contact list is extremely wide-ranging. I once met somebody who walked the dog of the Bishop of London.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We could get them, couldn't we? I'm sure that'd be a good person to get on. Yeah.
Well, when I was dog walking a while ago, I met somebody, and his godfather was Bishop David, the former Bishop of Salisbury. I don't know how that came out in our conversation, but so.
So Chris, so you've organised this with the Rota, and that's good. We'll do our best to try and uphold it, except our best may falter as we go along. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put on a list of who's going to press the record button.
Well, that's the problem, you see, Chris.
I think the plumber's just arrived. I might have to dip out in for a second. Our boiler's not working.
Oh dear. So who you got? Who's coming to see you?
I'm hoping it's Matt Larkham.
Yeah, say hello to him for me. He's a good friend.
He's very nice, isn't he?
He is. He's
He's really nice.
He could come and join us in the game. He could be the very first guest.
Yeah. I asked him to come in.
Yeah, ask him to come in. He can be the very first guest on our recording.
I'm going to get him. I'll just see if I can get him, and then he can appear. Won't be a sec.
He can say hello to us. Well, here we are, Chris. Very unexpected, dear viewer. This could be a moment that we weren't expecting today. Our first guest on Rev Chat. Yeah.
Is Deb going to say, and the boiler's in here?
Decent.
Yes, you do. So come sit down here.
Oh, Matthew, hello.
How are we doing?
Hello, Matthew. You're our first guest on Rev Chat. You don't know a thing about. What do you know about the Syrophoenician?
I'm not qualified.
What do you know about the Syrophoenician woman? Could you tell us all about the?
There we go. Sorted.
You can always rely upon a plumber to join in.
Anything. He's gone quiet.
This is the best way of for David when he goes quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a blessing.
I actually thought David looked like you was at the hairdressers. I thought you was about to get a haircut.
Oh.
I'm back again, don't you worry, Chris. There we
Get a
are.
haircut, David.
I'll leave it with you. I feel a bit out of me depth.
Thank you. You are, but don't worry, Matt. It's good to see you.
I'll be back. Oh, Matt, thanks so much for coming. It's all
right. That was Matthew Larkham. Matthew Larkham is the heating engineer. I called him a plumber. He's actually the heating engineer that the diocese use for certain boilers in the diocese, including mine and Deb's. Not yours, obviously, Chris. Are you an oil man or a gas man?
Oil.
I see. You wouldn't get Matthew if you're oil, only if you're gas.
Okay, I got a guy called Justin Dannymore.
Yeah, well, Justin Dannymore lives in the Beaminster Team.
Does he?
In Stoke Abbott. That's where the business used to be. And Matthew used to work for him years ago. And then went on his own. And he's a good man. He's a very, very good heating engineer. He really is very good. Well done, Matt. Well, Chris, the Reverend Debs will be back. Who's going to read?
Read.
There you go. I think that was a volunteer from Deb to read.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Oh, Deb, right out.
And the boiler's being fixed. What a great day.
The boiler's fixed.
No, it's being fixed.
Oh, I thought you just said you haven't switched it on or something.
Anyway, that's great, isn't it? We talked about having a
guest,
and one immediately appeared.
He is, yeah. What a good man. What a good man he is.
He's a very good man. Okay, so this reading is from.
I'm going to pause, Deb. Hang on, Deb.
Oh, sorry.
We've got to have a pause.
Yes, I'm out of practice.
You're becoming very previous. Let's have a pause.
So this is a reading from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 15, beginning to read at 21. Jesus left that place and went away to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Just then, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged her, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." He answered, I was sent not only for the sheep of the house of Israel, but she came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. He answered, it is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. She said, yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered her, woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish. And her daughter was healed instantly.
Well, first glance, that appears to be quite a reading where Jesus is being exclusive and excluding other people who don't fit.
Yeah. So what do you think that's all about? Because that isn't what we know about Jesus. So it always makes me think that he's doing it for effect, but I don't know. You know,
Jo said that she'd been reading an article about this, and it shows that Jesus could be racist.
Or was he just, if you go into modern marketing speak, focused on his target audience?
Oh, Chris, that's awfully modern.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, awfully modern. It is an interesting reading, isn't it? And we've all read it many times before. And if I'm honest, I don't understand it any more now than I did the first time I came across it.
Well, maybe it's just because what we know or what we believe about Jesus, but the fact that it feels like an exercise to me, and he doesn't take much. It's almost like it's almost like demonstrate for these people watching that although I say I'm here for the lost sheep of Israel only, that actually it's bigger than that, because he's encouraging her to demonstrate her faith. Or I guess it wouldn't work with everybody. Some people would just be cowed by what he said and turn away. But she's, determined and feisty, and she keeps coming back, for the fight.
She does. I'm always interested in the subtle differences between Matthew's account of this story and Mark's account of the story, because you can find it, dear viewer, in both of the Gospels. In Mark's version, I think, is quite abrupt compared to Matthew. We've said what we've said about Matthew already, but Mark's is more abrupt. But I think you can read both of the stories at two levels if you want to. Yes, about faith, but also you could read it in the light of the fact that Jesus recently has been having a lot of battles with people who've been criticising him and getting onto him, the Pharisees and all kinds. And is his response perhaps a natural human?
Oh, we temporarily lost David there.
Yeah, we missed those last pearls, David.
So what we were thinking about, you could say, he's looking for the woman's response. Like you say, Deb, it's a very strong, determined woman. But then Jesus would have known that, wouldn't he? And it's a real test of her faith. Because how many times do we read where we read Jesus say, great is your faith has healed you. And then we have that again. So maybe you could just take that as the words of Jesus were aiming to get that phrase out, to find out really what her faith was all about.
Well, I guess, I suppose there is a simplistic idea about faith. And Dan Shackle, who is a priest that works here in Bridport with me, he used to work in a homeless charity. And, you know, this bloke came up to him once and said, I really need this, and this. Father, please would you pray? And then the next time he came back and he said, well, he said, did you pray? And he said, yeah. And he said, well, none of those things have happened. So obviously it doesn't work. And this is the counter to that, which is, you know, pray without ceasing. Faith isn't just to do with, I would like this, and this, get it sorted. It's about an attitude, and it's about your whole life. And I guess this is a way of demonstrating that, because everything was stacked against this woman. She wasn't the chosen. She had this terrible situation with her daughter. Nothing was going right, but she didn't just stop wanting to believe or stop asking God. She carried on, and people do that through their lives in so many ways, where things are difficult. If you've got a chronic illness, or you've got a difficult relationship, whatever it is, you know, you could say, right, well, I've prayed about that, nothing's changed, so I'm not going to pray about it anymore. Whereas this story kind of shows you somebody who, despite what's going on the outside, keeps believing that something can change. And maybe it's about our own attitudes, you know, I don't know, but it does look, I mean, Jesus comes over really badly, you know, talking about dogs, and, you know, he's done that before. But I think he is demonstrating something to all of us about our own attitudes. And yeah.
But he does praising the woman for her faith, doesn't he? At the end, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is part of the key to the narrative, or at least it's key to the narrative in this case that Matthew wants us to understand, which is good.
And Matthew's gospel was generally focused on Jesus bringing the gospel story to the Jewish people.
Yeah,
and not allowing him to get outside of that little bubble. You know, whereas Paul, that was the great argument in Acts, was to take it out. Here shows the demand of people outside the Jewish faith actually can still believe in Jesus. And like you say, you know, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the table. It's almost it's a really strange phrase, and it does make Jesus appear to be, or could make Jesus appear to be, a little bit on that racist side. But what's the important part of the story, I think, probably is, woman, great is your faith. You know, Jesus acknowledges a belief in God when he sees it. And that's surely is our task, isn't it? It's our prayers isn't, like Deb said, you know, we come to God with a shopping list, and if we don't tick everything off the shopping list after a 30-second prayer, then, well, God hasn't answered prayer. Actually, what is faith? It's far deeper than that. It's a belief in this eternal being that created heaven and earth. It's a belief in a God who loves us. And that's the faith that this woman actually proves. In amongst being dismissed by Jesus, she still proves that God loves her and that she believes in it. I believe in you, Jesus, and nothing you can say will stop me.
I think it's interesting, Chris, that this particular passage, whether it's been placed there deliberately or whether it's just been placed accidentally, we will never know, really. It comes between the feeding of the 5,000 we were talking about last week, and it's going on very soon to another miraculous feeding. And it just seems that, you know, it's a very clever way of explaining that the woman's faith is so good. She didn't ask for the bread of the children, she only asked for the crumbs. And we know how many crumbs and leftovers there were after the miraculous feeding last week, and in the story that is to follow. So there's something very cleverly about the way the passages are being linked. You know, we will never know when Matthew wrote them in any sequence like that, or or whatever. But I just find it fascinating. It's all intertwined together somehow.
But do you think it's also kind of teaching the people that think they're the in people, you know, we're the chosen, and sometimes that sort of sense of entitlement, which we see a lot in our world, you know, she's actually valuing even the crumbs that fall from the table, you know, and sometimes, you know, if we feel we're the chosen ones or we're right or whatever it is, we don't value in the same way. I think it's a lesson to all the people around. I think it's almost like Jesus is the foil to this woman. I think it's teaching people around who think that God's blessing is theirs by right. And here's somebody who will fight for this daughter that she loves, fight for God's blessing, because even the crumbs from under the table would make her feel fulfilled by God. I just think, you know, I don't think Jesus is racist, but obviously I'm sure there's a, you know, but I think Jesus is talking to people around him who have very set attitudes. And this woman is kind of making that really clear because of the way in which she values what Jesus is offering, even though, you know, maybe it's not hers by right, according to, you know, the way that people see the world.
Do you think all of our churches need a Canaanite woman that comes asking those impertinent questions?
Yeah, I think they do.
Puts us on the spot, because so many of us as Christians don't see what God's real plan is. You know, we want God's plan often to fit into our plan, don't we? And she's saying, actually, that, you know, come on, let's focus on what all this is about.
Yeah.
So perhaps you all ought to pray for a Canaanite woman to come. I don't know whether there are many Canaanite women in Bridport or in Loders. Exeter is the Chris, but we might find one.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure Canaan, the promised land. Surely we're all part of the promised land now.
Oh, Chris. Again, marvellous. Yeah, well done.
I dodged that bullet, didn't I?
Yeah, you've done very, very well. Well, great story. Now, do we know what we're doing next week, Chris? Because we were trying to see if we could do something live at the show, weren't we? Is that still on board for us, do you think?
Well, I think what we plan to do a recording on the Wednesday.
We do.
That was my little note and my table that we sent out.
For 2 weeks.
That you were talking about right at the start.
That's not the plan. I've got it here. Don't worry, Chris. I wasn't going to let you forget it. It's on my phone.
Good. And it was just that, and I think doing something at the Melplash show would be nice to do a brief something there.
Lots of guests.
We could have lots of guests.
We could.
But whether it's something we rely on the technical capability and the internet coverage, etc., it might be best not to. Or best to have a contingency plan and have one already recorded.
You might need to rely on the crumbs from under the table.
Yeah, the crumbs from Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or you could say, keep watching, dear viewer. There might be a bonus broadcast.
A bonus broadcast, Chris. You're really titillating people's senses now, aren't you?
Oh, I tell you what, I know all this corporate speak.
You do. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. A sleepy little place like Loders, and it got such corporate speak. Yes, there we are. Well, all is good. That's great. Well, Debs, it's been absolutely delightful to see you, and obviously we hope you well and keep on going. And Chris, thank you for coordinating all this and putting some order into our unruly lives.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we need it.
I'm not sure that sounds like an impossible task, really.
True. But we do look forward, dear viewer, if you can think of any guests you'd like us to bring onto RevChat, let us know. You know, maybe the Ayatollah or who's the latest football? I don't know who's the latest football. Harry Kane, perhaps you get Harry Kane. Life.
I think it would be a lioness. Actually, I mean,
yeah, I'd love a lioness. Yeah. Can you think of any particular lioness you'd like?
Toon.
You know all these names, don't you? I can tell.
I do.
I'd go for the Aston Villa ladies goalkeeper. She's been playing very well with her piece, so she's good. So we could go for lioness. Other than that, we could just ask Philip Ringer. He's greatly known in Bridport, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
He's greatly known. People keep talking. Yeah, there we are. So, dear viewer, do let us know. Keep watching, and thank you all very much. You can follow us, as you know, because you've found us. But those who haven't, you can follow us on, Egerton Loaders stuff, or Bridport Team, or even the Beaminster Team. Just go to YouTube or Facebook, or in Chris's case, TikTok. He's still TikToking, Debs.
Is he? I hope you weren't in Oxford Street. That's all I can say.
I know. I was worried about that. I thought he was holding the paper, the post office to ransom in Powerstock or somewhere.
Oh my gosh, it's out of order, isn't it?
I asked you. I thought he's the one. He'll be there at the Powerstock post office, doing whatever they were doing. I didn't really understand it. It seemed to be a crazy idea to me, but they seem to enjoy themselves. There we are. Well, thank you both very, very much. Have a great weekend, and continue to. I think we're going to enjoy some sun over the next few days, aren't we?
I hope so. I think we're due some sun.
We are.
Yeah. Are you swimming at the moment, Debs? Are you able to swim?
No, but it's mainly because of the ridiculous and scandalous problem of sewage in the sea.
Oh no!
Well, it's just awful, isn't it? So no.
And I understand that the gentleman who owned Freshwater has died.
Oh no!
Or the camp, yeah.
Oh.
Name I don't know. If you don't know, Freshwater is a big holiday complex on the coast road between Bridport and Weymouth, although a long way from Weymouth, really, but outside of Bridport. And I've been told that he's died. Simon Wakely was telling me the other day.
Oh yeah, I did know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a shame. But they've got a swim. The reason for thinking about that is, of course, they have got a swimming pool, haven't they?
Yeah, and they've got one at Highland End as well, which is meant to be nice.
Oh, Highland End, yes. I've never been there. I've been to Highland End. Never been to the swimming pool. So there we are. Well, there we are, dear viewer. You've heard that there is sewage. Perhaps we can do a rev chat on sewage problems in the coming weeks. There must be a Bible passage coming up about sewage problems, and perhaps we can tackle that issue at some point.
Maybe you could link the passage in before. What goes into the mouth and what comes out.
Oh, no.
I'd rather not. That's a rather disgusting thought. Yeah, thank you. I'm pleased that you've had that reaction, Deb. It's not good, Chris. I'm sorry.
Should we let Harry edit that bit?
Under the broadcasting whatever allowance, we could be on dicey.
We're going to be pulled. We're going to be pulled.
Done. However, as clergy, we are called to challenge the ruining of God's world, aren't we?
We are. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I think we're saved. I've got it in. Oh, there we are. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to see you all. See you all next week.
Bye.
Cheers, then. Bye now.
Bye.